Just like that, we back with another
major badass points for gaining the only DNF redo yo-yo trifecta of the year.
It was almost like a transcendental moment in the mountain.
What notes do you taste in that Egg McMuffin, Kris?
What up YouTube? It's your boy Ross, and just like that, we back with another reaction video. Today, I'm going to be reacting to Yellow Wolf Pinto Bean Freestyle. What? Oh, this is for the other channel? Blessings everyone, this is Ross, and welcome to part 2 of the UltraPedestrian Wilderness Challenge 2019 wrap-up / 2020 kickoff virtual video Pseudo-Cyber party. So this is taking the place of our annual gathering, get-together party that we have at Seven Hills Running Shop to announce the results of the previous year's UltraPedestrian Wilderness Challenge and to announce the new routes and challenges for the new year. Guthrie's making noise over there. Hey Guff, look, that's the internet. Look, that's the whole world. That's 7 billion people out there. Yeah, right there. I mean, only like 70 of them are going to actually see this, but technically like 7.5 billion people are out there, and they're all thinking about how pretty you are. What a good little guy. Since this is supposed to be a party, I hope that you're partying a little bit to whatever degree that is reasonable and responsible for you right now. But we would normally have all right, you go down. We would normally have pizza and beverages and other stuff. So I have my low quality instant coffee. That's pretty hot. So I'm ready to go. I've been drinking a lot of coffee already today. Because of the video format this year, a lot of people who didn't previously know about the Wilderness Challenge and haven't participated in it are finding out about it, which is a sort of unexpected byproduct. So I'm going to cover a few more things this time for folks who weren't familiar with it. So we've got a $20 sign-up fee to participate in the UltraPedestrian Wilderness Challenge. And for people who are wondering what that's about, I was going to cover that real quick. First off, why $20? It seems like a randomly low amount of money, considering that when you sign up for official races, it's often 100 and 150 bucks for shorter distances, marathons, 50Ks, things like that, and often hundreds or even thousands of dollars for longer distance races and multi-day events, things of that sort. So why $20? And it basically goes back to just like an old school idea, like when you're with your friends and you're mouthing off about something and somebody would call you and be like, oh yeah, you want to put 20 on it? The idea being, are you confident enough in your assertions that you'll actually bet $20 on it? Whether it's a trivia matter that you're going to Google on a phone right away and settle, or an act of physical accomplishment or endurance or foolishness or bravery or taking up a dare, whatever. It's just an old idea. I don't know, maybe not everybody did that, maybe not everybody's familiar with it, but it's a thing where somebody would make an assertion and somebody would challenge it and say, oh yeah, you want to put 20 on it? Basically saying, put your money where your mouth is. Step up if you're serious with what you're claiming and put a little skin in the game, put something on the line to prove that you can do it. So that was where the amount came from and the basic idea. And the other motivation behind it is when things are free, people often judge their value by the price tag. So if something doesn't cost anything, people have a tendency to dismiss it as not being worth anything. So making people pony up any amount to participate in something immediately makes them view it differently. And again, it's the idea of having some skin in the game, having something on the line. And then of course that $20 goes to help pay for the costs of the UltraPedestrian Wilderness Challenge, printing patches, printing stickers. That's a quick overview. And you're probably wondering at this point, again, if you're new, how is the UPWC, how is the UltraPedestrian Wilderness Challenge different from an organized race? And there's a whole bunch of ways. The first and foremost, there's no fixed date. So you can go whenever you want. You can go early in the season and try to be the first person to do a route. You can wait until people have done it, and there's a lot of beta information that you can use. And go in the, the best part of the season when the snow's melted on a non-rainy day, when there's 18 hours of daylight. You can wait and do it in the fall and try to get lasties and try to bag being the last person to complete a route in a given year. There's no fixed date, so you can do it when you want, or you can high grade out good weather conditions, or if you're up for the adventure, you can low grade out horrible weather conditions and see what you can do. So there's no fixed date. There's also no course markings. And I want to make it clear that I'm not talking trash about organized races. I'm not putting them down. I'm not meaning to insult people who participate in organized races. I participate in organized races. A lot of my friends do. My beloved wife does. I love organized races. There's nothing at all wrong with it. It's an absolute blast to go running around the woods and every hour or so have friendly people hand you snacks and beverages and just follow flags through the woods and know exactly where you're going, and have people in reflective vests at road crossings helping make sure that you get safely across and that traffic's aware of what's going on. All of those things are excellent, and that's what you pay for. That's why the entry fees are expensive for organized races. But that's not what the Wilderness Challenge is about. The Wilderness Challenge is about taking all of those little advantages and safety precautions off the table and having individuals and teams of individuals head out into beautiful and challenging places to test themselves against these routes, and then for us all to be able to compare our experiences on these routes. So the one thing that's consistent that we're going to compare is the route itself. But the day, the time, to a degree the technique, whether it's running, fast packing, backpacking, all of those things are variable and are up to you. The route, the course, is the one thing that's consistent. Guthrie is kind of a scavenger, so he's going back behind the tarp here, the backdrop, and he's fetching things apparently out of a basket that Kathy has there, and then he's taking them into his little den under the bed. So that's kind of disruptive, dude. You're not helping make this video. And then one other thing that's different about the UPWC is that it is a requirement that you produce content. And that's because the entire goal of this is for us all to be able to compare our experiences on these routes, because we're doing it on different days, under different weather conditions, at different times of day, at different speeds, by different methodologies. So comparing that is what I find so fascinating and inspirational about the UPWC. And from the numerous people that have participated and returned year after year and taken on route after route, I think that that is an idea which is resonant with more people than just myself, at least with other people who make similarly questionable life choices.
Hi there, my name is John Lumb. I wanted to record a quick video for the UPWC Rat Party. This year I managed to do 3 routes, so I did the Big Jim and the Chuakam route right at the start of the season, and I did Easy Pass, and then my big goal for the year was to complete the Labon Gap route, which I've looked at for a couple of years now, but it's logistically difficult, so you've got to get the conditions to align to manage to get enough support to have a vehicle at the end and get somebody to drop you at the start. So last year I was lucky enough to make all of that happen, and I had an incredible time on the route. It's yeah, if you've read all the reports, it's some true alpine running and some boulder hopping and scrambling in the middle to get over the Labon Gap, and then you obviously have the big climb up a red path from Goldmire at the end, which was incredible. I hit that ridge just as the sun was getting low in the sky, so it was golden hour, and the mountains just looked incredible at the end there. It was kind of the perfect finish, and it was almost like a transcendental moment in the mountains. It's one of my favorite memories from the year, is standing there on the ridge, having all of the difficulties of the route behind me, and knowing that I just had a couple of miles of downhill to get back to the truck and get a cold beer out of the cooler and call it done. So it's one of my favorite days out ever, in fact. So this year at the wrap party, I wanted to make an offer to anybody else in the UPWC. If you plan to do that route, I want to help you. I want to help you out the logistics. I can give you a ride to the start, or if you want to shuttle a car the day before and leave your car at the end. It's an incredible route, and I want to help people experience it if I can. So it might not happen this year because of COVID. I mean, that's one problem with my offer, is nobody might be able to take me up on it this year, but the offer stands from whenever we're allowed to go play in the mountains. If you want to do that route, then get in touch and I'll help you if I can. So looking forward to doing that, and looking forward to some more people experiencing this route.
So there's some of the basics about the UltraPedestrian Wilderness Challenge. We do have a new website in development, which I think is going to be better than anything we've ever had, and it's going to have a lot more functionality to it. If there's something that you think would be useful and or inspirational and or interesting to as far as functionality for the website, then please leave a comment below. Or join the UltraPedestrian Wilderness Challenge Facebook group and let us know there, because now's the opportunity where we can build it in. But we are going to have the ability for people to upload trip reports so that they're not just on the Facebook group, and all of that content that everybody produces can be localized in one central place where everybody can access it to do exactly what we're trying to do, which is to compare experiences and to share information. And again, the Facebook group is a great place to link up with other adventurers who have taken on some of these challenges or are planning to do so in the near future. So I do recommend joining the Facebook group, but it's not mandatory. You don't have to join the Facebook group if you don't want to, but it's a really inspiring group, and it's a great way to get beta about the routes and to find out about new challenges and to participate in polls. I do a lot of polls in there to get people's information, because we do like to maintain at least the illusion of democracy with the Wilderness Challenge, but it isn't a democratic institution. In the end, it will be me and or Kathy making the big decisions about rules and interpretations of the rules and people's performances and that sort. But the whole goal of this is not to criticize anybody or anything like that. The whole goal of this is to inspire people and to compare our experiences in these beautiful and challenging places. So we're always looking for ways to give credit rather than to take credit away. And even if somebody does violate the rules, we've never had anybody do it in a mean-spirited way or trying to cheat. We've simply had people get a little too creative perhaps and not touch every part of a route and be disqualified. And even then, the couple of times that we've disqualified people and not given them a finisher's patch, we've given them a special award for creativity and for pushing the boundaries, because we do like that. So, now for new people, I will explain something that wasn't explained in the previous video, which is that for each route, we print 100 finisher's patches. And the first 100 people to complete the route earn that finisher's patch. And then once they're all given out, we're going to close off a route as far as the Wilderness Challenge. I mean, they're public trails. We're not going to close them and keep people from doing them, but they will no longer be a part of the Wilderness Challenge. As yet, that hasn't happened. All of the routes are still open. And if you fail on a route, you don't have to pay again. Your registration is good. It carries over to the next year. You can attempt it over and over again as many times as you want until either you earn that patch or until all 100 patches have been given out and the route is closed. So there's some bullet points for new people, some reminders for the people that have been doing this for a while, and I'll include some more in the next video. So if you have questions or suggestions or comments, leave them below and I'll check them out and we'll address them in the next video.
So how do you guys feel?
I hate this. This is where we decided to live or to die. What are you gonna do? I don't know. What are you guys like doing? Tell me why ain't nothing but a party. Tell me why ain't nothing but a mistake.
Think about how like how well the eggs are cooked in McDonald's, the Canadian bacon, like the buttered English McMuffin that just really satisfies me, like on a hard hike like this.
What notes do you taste in that egg McMuffin, Kris?
My first is the egg. Protein I need to sustain me through the entire day.
Ready?
And now the big announcement that you've all been waiting for, or I don't know, that I'm super excited about, and so I'm projecting that and saying that you're all excited about it, and that is our Badass of the Year. Our Badass of the Year for 2019 is John T. Barrickman, also known as Jaunty John, aka the Jaunty One. And this is a special accomplishment because John was our first Badass of the Year back in 2016, and he is the first person so far to reach double Badass status, to have accomplished Badass of the Year on 2 different occasions. So big hand for John, that's impressive. He completed 5 UPWC routes in 2019, including firsties and onlysies on the Kettle Crest. And that was 2 attempts too. So he made the drive over there, made that effort to bag that route and to complete the Kettle Crest, and even yo-yoing it in the process. So he actually did it twice in order to do it once. And that's because it's a point-to-point route, and if you're doing it solo, the trailheads are really far-flung. They're very difficult. The southern trailhead is extremely difficult to get to and very hard to hitchhike out from. Kathy and I have done that, and we got pretty fortunate and ended up getting a ride via a couple rides and only a few miles additional hiking all the way back to the north end. But that's difficult to do. It's not something that you should count on. So it's better to do it either in teams where you can put a car at each end, or key swaps where you solo or independent teams start at opposite ends and trade car keys in the middle. There's different ways to work out those logistics, but it's especially challenging, and so John yo-yoed the route in order to make it go in his solo attempt. So there was some competition, and he overcame all of it and put up the most impressive combination of performances for 2019, earning himself Badass of the Year for the 2nd time. So congratulations, John. And now I'm proud to present Brad Hefta-Gaub with a wrap-up of the 2019 UltraPedestrian Wilderness Challenge season. Brad was our 2nd ever Badass of the Year, and so he is an authority on what it takes to complete these routes. He also does a lot of the heavy lifting to help keep this event happening with aggregating all of the information about people's finishes and their trip reports and all of their results. So he does a lot of work behind the scenes, for which we're very thankful, and we'd like to big up him and thank him for that. And that expertise has led to him being in a unique position to give us this 2019 season wrap-up. Brad?
Welcome to the UltraPedestrian Wilderness Challenge News. I'm Brad Hefta-Gaub, assistant to the regional manager, with your 2019 season wrap-up. The 2019 season got started early, even before the 2018 season wrap-up party had occurred, when Ryan Stoddard and David Swish headed out on March 31st to set a new fastest known time for the Olympic Coast Route. They took almost 80 minutes off the previous FKT set by John T. Barrickman in 2014. After a sleepy April and May, June is when the action really got started. A group of badass ladies, including Sarah Brower, Heidi Flora, Marna Cagle, and Ellen Maud, set off to tackle the Olympic Coast Route at 2 a.m. on June 14th. Although Ellen Maud dropped at Rialto Beach, the remaining crew continued, finishing in 38 hours and earning the fastest female time for 2019. Devil's Dome firstie went to Austin Rains and Lauren Thompson, with Lauren landing the fastest female time of 2019. Amanda Mazzenga and Russell Bennett bagged Chinook Pass firsties on the 21st. June 22nd was a busy day, with 3 different solo runners taking on the Lewitt Trail. John T. Jaunty Barrickman bagged 2019 firsties thanks to his ass crack of dawn start on the day. Andrew Wilkins bagged 1 of 2 of his fastest times for 2019, and John St. Laurent demonstrated the true ultra-pedestrian spirit by circumambulating for a casual 14 hours. Meanwhile, 125 miles away as the crow flies, John Lumb, Gavin Woody, Ghislaine Devuton completed Big Jim in the Chewacum, bagging route firsties and setting a new fastest known time. The next day, Stasha Honold and Jared Widman completed the Lewitt Trail as a team, and Stasha setting a new UltraPed women's fastest known time for the route. June 29th was another big day, with Jaunty, Bryce Romans, and Christopher Jonson completing Big Jim in the Chewacum, and Lauren Thompson, Austin Rains, and their dog Leo bagged 2019 firsties on Le Bon Traverse, and a new female and doggy FKT. Sending June out with a bang, June 30th saw Will Chinda completing the Lewitt Trail, Evan Welch finishing Easy Pass, and Andrew Wilkins dropping the Olympic Coast FKT by another 14 minutes. Wow! Congratulations, Andrew! That's amazing! July was another big month for the ultra-pedestrians. Julie Flowers finished the Lewitt Trail, and Charlie Quinn did the Lewitt with a summit. Jeffrey Hart, John Lumb, and Sarah Brower all ran Easy Pass, with Sarah running the fastest female time for 2019. Andrew Wilkins, Bryce Romans, Lisa Eagle, and Vivian Dorn all ran Devil's Dome. Catherine Gailey also circumambulated Devil's Dome over what appears to be 5 amazing days with this unknown fellow hiker. If you recognize them, please let us know who they are so we can get them their patch. July 13th sure was busy. While Bryce was bagging Devil's Dome, Richard Lockwood was out tagging Big Jim for Lasties. Speaking of Lasties makes me think of firsties. And you know who knows a thing or two about firsties? John Garibaldi, who year after year jumps on one of the new obscure routes to bag its firsties. In 2019, John jumped on firsties for Purple Rainbow, also setting a male FKT. Chalk up another one for Mr. Firsties. Owyhee Lakes saw some action in July, with Jaunty bagging his second firsties of 2019 on the route, Charlie Quinn and Ghislaine Devuton also completing the route in July. But the route that saw the most action in July was the fan favorite Chinook Pass. Stuke Soul came out of the gate strong and set a new male FKT by more than 35 minutes. Sarah Lane set a new female FKT by more than 30 minutes. Julian Flowers, AJ Vaughn also ran the route. Shawn Michael ran the route on the 27th and set yet another male FKT of 5 hours, 36 minutes, and 54 seconds, taking more than an hour off of Stuke's amazing time. Trisha Steidel came out and set another female FKT on the route, taking more than 30 minutes off of Sarah's amazing time. But Trisha got off course and lost valuable time, failing to hit the mark that she'd set for herself. And finally, we can't talk about FKTs without talking about Christoph Tuscher's and Megan Lacey's FKT for the Alpine Lakes Grand Tour. This was Christoph's 4th attempt at the route. They crushed it, taking 7 hours and 20 minutes off the previous best time. Congratulations, Christoph and Megan. July also saw a failed attempt at the Kettle Crest route by John T. Jaunty Barrickman. In many sports events, a DNF is considered a sign of failure, but not at the UltraPedestrian Wilderness Challenge. We consider all attempts a badge of honor, and so we also honor Jamie Dubinsky's partial 7 Lakes Basin loop. Nice work on the most rugged parts of that trail, Jamie. AJ Vaughn deserves a special shout out for his failed attempt at the Purple Rainbow route, which included a scary river crossing, and after dragging himself out like a wet cat, he concluded, "It was a really bad decision on my part." We salute you for your attempt, AJ, and we're glad you made it home safe. Speaking of odd things we celebrate at the UltraPedestrian Wilderness Challenge, August got really interesting really early when Ryan Stoddard attacked one of the more challenging routes in the UltraPedestrian Wilderness Challenge, Ben and Kevin's excellent Pasayten adventure. But Ryan upped the difficulty level by adding peak bagging of Remmel, Amphitheater, and Cathedral. Unfortunately for Ryan, he didn't read the fine print, and although peak bagging mid-adventure is highly encouraged, one must also make sure to step foot on the entire route in the process. Ryan did land the coveted Most Creative Unofficial Finish Award, but won't be getting a patch for his 2019 effort. There's always 2020, Ryan. While Ryan was out bagging peaks, Jonty was out for redemption on the Kettle Crest and completed a yo-yo of the route. Major badass points for gaining the only DNF redo yo-yo trifecta of the year. On his first attempt, he tried a yo-yo starting in the middle, resulting in an easy excuse to bail while passing his car mid-trip. For his second attempt, he wised up and started at the northern terminus. Fun fact, when Jonty hit the southern terminus of White Mountain Trailhead, he not only officially finished the route in 13 hours 58 minutes, but also and simultaneously finished his original north to south point to point attempt, started on the 4th of July weekend, in 748 hours and 9 minutes. He's landed the fastest known time, as well as what will probably be the slowest known time for all of posterity. As if that wasn't exciting enough, while Ryan and John were out doing their silly things, T-Girl Katie jumped out of the gate strong and went after the purple rainbow, finishing with 2019 Lasties and the overall FKT of 36 hours. Michael Plummer ran Devil's Dome in the 2019 fastest time of 9 hours, 35 minutes, and 34 seconds, and later in the month ran Easy Pass, setting a new fastest known time of 4 hours, 15 minutes, and 10 seconds. Wow! Nice work, Michael! Also in August, Heidi Flora and Marna Cagle teamed up again to finish Ben and Kevin's excellent Pasayten adventure to be our only official finishers of that route for 2019, bagging firsties, lasties, and fastest overall. Chinook Pass also saw a lot of action in August, with finishes by Katie Fox, Sarah Brower, Christy Zappallo, and Shelley Mann. Le Bon Traverse was also very popular in August, with completions by John Lumb, who set a new FKT with a time of 10 hours, 17 minutes, and 19 seconds, taking an hour and 17 minutes off the previous FKT. Two teams of 3 also ran the route, Christopher Jonson, Amanda Mazzenga, and Jean Ruggiero, as well as Brian Bezinger, Peter Pesant, and David Rogers, who bagged lasties. Gilson Devuton bagged firsties and 2019 fastest time for Spider on steroids. Jamie Nelson was the only adventurer to bag Windy Peak in 2019, landing the coveted firsties, lasties, fastest trifecta. August also saw Stasha Honnold and Jared Widman teaming up again to complete the Weehee Lakes loop, and Jamie Dubinsky finishing the Lewitt to bag lasties for that route. Sean Michael ran a Weehee Lakes in a blistering time of 7 hours, 15 minutes, and 59 seconds, but just missed the FKT by a minute. Maybe if he hadn't run into those bears, he would have beaten it. Christopher Jonson also finished a Weehee to bag 2019 lasties. Nina Tang and Sean Pierce completed Chinook Pass as a team, while Tricia Steidel came back for redemption after stewing for almost 2 months about her wrong turns on her previous FKT attempt in July. She lowered the female FKT by an additional 25 minutes to 5 hours, 49 minutes, and 32 seconds. Congrats, Tricia. Amazing work. John T. Barrickman completed his 5th route of the year, bagging lasties on Spider on steroids. We rounded out the year with Ghislaine Devuton completing Chinook Pass in late October, and Richard Lockwood bagging the ever-coveted lasties for Chinook Pass in November. Congratulations to all the 2019 finishers. It was an amazing year at the UltraPedestrian Wilderness Challenge. I look forward to seeing all of your adventures in 2020. Good night and happy ambulation.
Thank you, Brad. Now I'm super excited about this next announcement. This is one of the new routes. So this is the second of the new routes that we're announcing. Although it's not really a route, this is something different that we've never done before, and I'm really excited about it. A couple years ago, Kathy designed our first ever peak bagging route called the Baker's Dozen, which is a series of 13 peaks in the Mount Baker National Forest that you bag by whatever route you design, but it's a set series of these peaks that you need to bag to complete that challenge. And it immediately got some amazing performances put up on it. That was the year when KDT Girls swooped in out of Canada. Nobody had ever heard of her, and all of a sudden she goes out and solos this peak bagging route, and everybody's like, what? So we've been wanting to do another peak bagging challenge because it seemed to really resonate with people. But rather than assigning peaks to bag, I really wanted to come up with an idea, a way to allow people to use their creativity and really express their uniqueness in designing their own peak bagging route. So what we've come up with is the North Cascades Peak Bagging Challenge. This is going to run for 2020 and 2021, so it's going to run for 2 seasons, the 2020 season of the UPWC and the 2021 season. So during that time, UPWC players can design their own peak bagging routes and go out and accomplish it. And then we will choose one, possibly more, probably more of the routes designed by UPWC players to make into official routes for the 2022 season. So you've got 2 years, 2 full seasons to design and complete your route. So it can't just be a theoretical route that you dream up and say, this would be cool if someone did it. You have to dream it up and actually go do it. So completed routes will all be considered, and we will choose at least one, but I think there's a good chance we're going to choose 2 or more based on all sorts of different criteria, and to choose the routes that are resonant, that have some cohesion to their design, some perhaps natural foundation based around geographic features, just something that gives them that extra resonance. And I don't necessarily know how to say it ahead of time, but we'll know it when we see it. So there's obviously got to be some guidelines to this. The first of which is, how are we even defining North Cascades? So we're going to define the North Cascades as a geographic region bounded on the west by I-5, on the north by the US-Canada border, on the east by the Okanagan River and the Columbia River, and on the south by Highway 2. So within that huge area, you can design a peak bagging route. We're going to keep it all to a soft class 3. So these can be scrambles, but nothing where you would need a rope to protect yourself. So we don't want anybody to have to carry rope for like even a short exposed class 3 section. For anybody that's experienced, especially on local crags, I would use the North Cleaver of Mount Adams as an absolute cutoff. Nothing more technical than that. There's really one spot on there where there's about an 8-foot high solid class 3 move, and I would probably say that that is out of bounds for the Wilderness Challenge, North Cascades Peak Bagging Challenge. Okay, we want to keep this a very, very soft class 3 or class 2 and everything below. So this isn't a technical climbing challenge. This isn't a mountaineering challenge. No glacial travel. We don't want anybody to have to carry rope for any reason other than their own extreme cautiousness, if that makes them feel better. Okay, so but this is a very, very soft class 3, hard class 2, and easier challenge. It's really not a mountaineering challenge or a climbing challenge. It's a routing challenge. So it can include scrambles. It can include needing 3 or 4 points of contact due to steepness, you know, maybe due to a little bit of choss, loose rock, scree, things of that sort, but we really don't want people putting their lives at risk to accomplish this. The riskiest part of this should be driving to and from the trailhead, which generally is the riskiest part of any adventure. So those are the guidelines. We want the goal to be to stand on top of as many named peaks as possible in one unsupported, unresupplied, single push. For now, we're going to leave some things up in the air because we've never done this before. So the amount of prominence defining the peaks, we're not going to set that in stone. Whether or not people slack pack, so for instance, carrying a large food cache and maybe hanging it at the base and summiting and then picking it up again and moving along, you know, or taking a small summit pack and leaving your full pack on the trail, taking your summit pack to touch the top. I'm open to that. I'm open to that. So I want to leave possibilities like that on the table and see what people do. So we're not going to rule things like that out, but it has to be unsupported, and it has to be named peaks, and it has to be a very, very, very soft class 3, but ideally class 2 and easier summit. So basically just hiking, expert hiking, or easy scrambles. And other than that, we'll be refining some of those guidelines on the website and in the Facebook group as it plays out. But for now, I want to leave things open because I want to leave room for people to use their creativity. And again, this is going to run for 2 seasons, 2020 and 2021. And then at the end of 2021, we'll evaluate all the routes that people complete, and we will choose 1 or more of them to be official routes for the 2022 season. So thank you for tuning in. I hope that this has got your brain firing off. I hope that you're imagining yourself moving along some crazy ridges, deep in wild places, carrying everything you need, or maybe not quite everything you need, to get to some amazing and challenging places where your spirit and your heart and everything within you will just be singing and vibrating with a very real experience of being alive that modern civilization tends to strip us of and that we don't really have the experience of. That's the goal of the UltraPedestrian Wilderness Challenge. I hope that you've heard something that inspires you to name that goal, to codify it, to quantify it in your own mind so that you can go out and achieve it, or have an amazing experience failing to achieve it. So we'll have another video coming out next week at Tuesday, 7 p.m. on Facebook, 8 p.m. on YouTube. So we'll see you then. Blessings.